Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. A violent crackdown on protests in Iran has left at least 648 dead. This according to a US-based human rights group. More than 10,700 people have been arrested as a nationwide communications blackout continues. Iranian authorities are now trying to reassert control through mass rallies in support of the Islamic Republic. Thousands turned out, with President Masoud Pezeshkian seen marching alongside supporters. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei praised the turnout, claiming protests driven by foreign interference have been defeated. The White House says President Donald Trump is prepared to use military force against Iran if necessary. Speaking to Fox News, Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt stressed that diplomacy remains the president's preferred approach, but warned he will not hesitate to deploy the full power of the US military if the situation demands it. Leavitt also noted a contrast in Iran's messaging, saying that while Tehran publicly rejects Trump's warnings, its private communications to the president have been noticeably more conciliatory in tone. The US virtual embassy in Iran has issued an urgent advisory urging American citizens to leave the country immediately. The warning says protests across Iran are escalating and could turn violent. Officials also cautioned about heightened security measures, widespread road closures, and disruptions to public transportation. The embassy added that Iranian authorities have imposed internet and communications restrictions, limiting access to mobile, landline, and national networks. Hundreds of protesters gathered outside the Iranian embassy in London on Monday, calling for the fall of Iran's Islamic theocracy. Demonstrators waved flags from Iran's former monarchy, overthrown in 1979, and carried placards reading "Make Iran Great Again." Some participants also showed support for Israel and the United States, with Israeli flags seen among the crowd. Police formed lines in front of the embassy as protesters chanted, waved placards, and flashed peace signs, maintaining a tense but orderly demonstration. Mexico has firmly rejected any possibility of US troops being deployed on its soil to fight drug cartels. President Claudia Sheinbaum told US President Donald Trump during a phone call. Sheinbaum said a military intervention was not on the table and unnecessary. The leaders also discussed trade and investment. Cuba's president says his government is not engaged in any talks with the United States. The statement comes a day after US President Donald Trump issued a threat against the Caribbean nation following the US attack on Venezuela. Hamas is reportedly preparing to hold internal elections to rebuild its leadership after Israeli strikes killed several of the group's top figures during the Israel-Hamas war. Sources say the vote could take place in the first months of 2026. But the future of any new leadership remains uncertain, as Israel and international powers are pressing for Hamas to be disarmed and excluded from Gaza's future governance. An Israeli drone strike has killed 3 Palestinians who reportedly crossed the ceasefire line near central Gaza's Morag corridor. The latest deaths adds to over 440 fatalities reported by the Gaza Health Ministry since Israel and Hamas agreed to suspend their war in October last year. Bodies were brought to Khan Yunis's Nasser Hospital in Gaza following separate incidents in the enclave. United Nations interim force in Lebanon says an Israeli tank fired near its peacekeepers, calling the incident part of a worrying pattern. Observers reported two Israeli Merkava tanks moving from an army position inside Lebanese territory further into the country. One tank fired 3 shells, with 2 landing roughly 150 meters from UN personnel. Fortunately, no casualties were reported. The UN has warned that such incidents are becoming increasingly common, raising concerns about the safety of peacekeeping forces in the area. Russian forces have carried out an overnight attack on Ukraine's northeastern city of Kharkiv, killing at least 4 people and injuring several others. This, according to regional officials. Kharkiv's mayor added that a Russian long-range drone hit a children's medical facility, sparking a fire. In a sweeping crackdown on foreign nationals with criminal records or legal violations, the U.S. State Department says it has revoked more than 100,000 visas. That includes around 8,000 student visas and 2,500 specialized visas. Officials say the effort will continue, vowing to deport what they describe as thugs to keep Americans safe. The move comes as the Trump administration presses ahead with an aggressive overhaul of the immigration system, alongside expanded vetting policies that monitor visa holders after entry for arrests, convictions, or other red flags. Hundreds of students at the Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis staged a walkout on Monday in protest of recent federal immigration enforcement actions. Students marched with signs including "ICE out" and "Welcome to Panama," expressing opposition to the presence of U.S. Border Patrol and ICE agents at and near the school. This after a confrontation last week where federal agents deployed chemical irritants on students and staff during an enforcement operation. Minnesota and Illinois have filed lawsuit against President Trump's administration to stop a surge of federal immigration enforcement officers being sent into their states. Minnesota Attorney General's complaint names Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem and other immigration officials as defendants, asking the court to block the enforcement operation. Venezuela's interim government says it is prepared to move forward towards productive relations with both the European Union and the UK. This after recent talks with their envoys signaling a possible thaw in relations after the ousting of Nicolas Maduro. Foreign Minister Ivan Gil urged deeper and more intense channels of dialogue with the EU and Britain. This even as Brussels has so far not recognized the new leadership's legitimacy. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to China this week in a bid to repair strained ties as a trade war weighs on both economies. The trip comes amid shifting global alliances, rising trade tensions with the United States, and Ottawa's urgent push to diversify its trading partners. Carney's visit to Beijing will be the first by a Canadian Prime Minister in nearly a decade. He says the goal is to build a stable relationship with China, despite warnings about Chinese election interference and Beijing's growing assertiveness in the Arctic. Former Panama President Ricardo Martinelli has claimed to be innocent as he goes on trial for money laundering in a sprawling corruption case. Martinelli is accused of receiving bribes from Brazilian construction giant Odebrecht at the center of regional corruption scandals. The trial is being closely monitored for its political and legal implications across Latin America. Sudan's RSF launched a drone attack on an army base in the southeastern city of Sinjar. The strike has killed 27 people, this according to military and health officials. Sinjar, the capital of Sennar state, is situated about 300 kilometers southeast of Khartoum. The strike came just a day after the army-aligned government announced its return to Khartoum, nearly 3 years after operating from its wartime base in Port Sudan. Somalia has terminated all agreements with the United Arab Emirates amid rising tensions over Israel's recognition of Somaliland. The move effectively ejects the UAE from military bases and major infrastructure projects in the country. Relations between Somalia and the UAE have been strained for some time, with the Gulf nation reportedly supporting Israel's recent recognition of Somaliland, the self-declared republic that broke away from Somalia in 1991. The UAE also built and operates a large deep-water port and military base in Berbera, Somaliland. Hawaii's Kilauea volcano erupted again on Monday, sending lava shooting into the air. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, the volcano has been erupting intermittently since December 23, 2024. Each eruption usually lasts under 12 hours, with pauses in activity sometimes stretching more than 2 weeks. Two suspected Nipah virus cases have been reported in West Bengal, prompting the central government to act swiftly. A national joint outbreak response team has been deployed to assist the state in containment and public health measures. Both suspected patients are nurses at a private hospital who are currently in critical condition in isolation wards with ventilatory support. Authorities are closely monitoring the situation to prevent further spread. Black ice has affected parts of western Germany. North Rhine-Westphalia, the country's most populous state, bordering the Netherlands and Belgium, has shut down more than 5,400 schools as a safety measure. India's meteorological department has issued a cold wave alert for several northern states as temperatures are set to plunge further in the coming days. Delhi recorded its coldest night of the season on Monday, with the mercury dropping to 3.2 degrees Celsius. Authorities warn that dense smog could worsen the chill and sharply reduce visibility. Asian markets rallied sharply on Tuesday, led by a powerful surge in Japanese shares. The Nikkei jumped more than 3% to fresh record highs after reopening from a holiday, helped by a weaker yen, talks of fiscal stimulus and strong enthusiasm for artificial intelligence. South Korea and Taiwan also hit all-time peaks, while Chinese blue chips climbed to a 4-year high. MSCI's Asia-Pacific Index outside Japan touched a new record. European futures edged higher, but US futures slipped ahead of key December inflation data and the start of earnings season. Investors are watching results from major US banks, with questions looming over Donald Trump's proposal to cap credit card interest rates, a move banks warn could restrict access to credit. Oil prices edged higher as markets weighed rising concerns over potential supply disruptions in Iran against expected increases in crude from Venezuela. Brent crude futures climbed around 0.4% to about $64 a barrel. The gains come as anti-government protests intensify in Iran. one of OPEC's major producers, raising the spectre of reduced exports and prompting talk of possible US action. Meanwhile, prospects of Venezuela's return to export markets could add supply later this year, tempering further price jumps. Additional tensions from Russia-Ukraine conflicts and broader geopolitical uncertainty are also keeping traders alert in energy markets. Gold prices reached to a record above $4,600 an ounce before settling to nearly $4,590 on Monday as investors sought safety amid deepening uncertainty over US Federal Reserve independence and geopolitical tensions. The rally was sparked by a criminal investigation into Fed Chair Jerome Powell that heightened fears of political pressure on monetary policy, weakening the dollar and boosting bullion demand. Silver also hit fresh highs alongside broad risk aversion in markets. Traders are now pricing in possible future rate cuts, further supporting precious metals as non-yielding assets. The move reflects elevated anxiety across global markets, with traders seeking refuge from volatility and potential economic risks. Apple will use Google's Gemini models to power its revamped Siri under a multi-year deal. The agreement deepens the alliance between the two tech giants as competition intensifies in the artificial intelligence race. The deal is seen as a major vote of confidence in Google's AI technology and bolsters Alphabet's position against rival OpenAI. Google's AI already powers much of Samsung's Galaxy AI, but the Siri integration opens access to Apple's installed base of more than 2 billion active devices worldwide. Google said Apple selected its technology after a careful evaluation of AI models. The company added that Gemini will provide the foundation for Apple Foundation models and power other future Apple Intelligence features. Nvidia has said it does not require upfront payment for its H200 artificial intelligence chips. According to a Reuters report, the US chipmaker said that the company would never ask customers to pay for products they do not receive. The statement follows an earlier report saying Nvidia had imposed unusually stringent terms on Chinese customers seeking its AI chips. The report said Nvidia's standard terms for Chinese clients have previously included advance payment requirements, though some were allowed to pay a deposit instead of the full amount upfront. The US Federal Communications Commission has revised a rule that required Verizon to unlock mobile phones 60 days after activation. The FCC said the policy was costing Verizon hundreds of millions of dollars each year due to fraud. The regulator said the changes closes a loophole exploited by organized criminal networks. The FCC added that unlocked Verizon handsets are often stolen and resold on the dark web, including in countries such as Russia, China, and Cuba. Verizon told the FCC fraud rose by around 55% after moving from a one-year lock to the 60-day unlock policy. Australia captain Alyssa Healy has said she will retire from all forms of cricket following the upcoming series against India in March. The 35-year-old wicketkeeper has more than 7,000 runs and 275 dismissals to her name across all formats. She led Australia to a historic 16-0 whitewash of England in the Ashes in 2025. She has won the ODI World Cup twice and the T20 World Cup 6 times. Healy is married to Australia fast bowler Mitchell Starc. She also already has a successful broadcasting career as a pundit and commentator. Five-time major champion Brooks Koepka will make a PGA Tour comeback at the end of January under a new returning member program. The American left the breakaway tournament Live Golf in December despite reportedly having 1 year left on his contract. He recently applied for his PGA Tour membership Under the terms of Koepka's deal, he'll be required to make a $5 million donation to charity, and he won't be eligible to receive equity shares in the tour's Player Equity Program. Koepka will also not be eligible to earn any FedEx Cup bonus money or points for 2026.